Welcome to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. Let's give him the business.
Hey everybody, today is May 31st, 2022. I'm your host, Jiroc the Viking, and joining me today are my fellow Vikings, Shield Maiden, Morning Darkness.
Hello and welcome.
Viking Gorthar. And joining us for the first time is Viking Jiroc.
Hello, hello.
Remember that first time that you found the mountains, had all that pretty white snow on the ground, and you thought, I can't wait to explore it. Then you realize that you're freezing and taking damage. As you turn to run back to warmer climate, bam, a pack of wolves jump you and give you the business, just like we're going to do today. First off, Jiroc is a player on my server. He's been with us for how many months now, Jiroc, have you been with us?
Oh, I mean, probably 6 months, something. Yeah. Fixing some change. I think it was November, maybe last year.
Yeah, so you were an early player, yeah.
Yeah, I think you joined like within a week or two of me joining.
Yeah. I mean, it was like, it was in the late 2000s, I think, in terms of days on the server. Maybe 2,500 or something. Yeah, we just hit like 11.5, I think, yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. It goes by fast when the server runs 24 hours a day because there's somebody on it almost every single minute of every day.
Right.
So can you tell our audience first off, before we get into a little bit more about you, where are you from in the world?
Oh, so I live in Atlanta, Georgia, but originally I was actually born in Sweden.
Okay.
And my family immigrated to the States when I was 9 years old.
Oh.
So I've been here for 20 odd years or something now. So I'm pretty much American, But yeah, 'cause you can't live in America and not turn into an American, as we found out. So
yeah. Different kinds of Americans, though. But what kind of games did you play before Valheim?
Oh wow! So I used to play a lot of World of Warcraft and like Diablo and those kinds of games. I think I really started off the I want to say the MMO genre, or whatever you want to call it, with RuneScape, like back when I was like 12 or 13, something like that. But yeah, that was kind of mine. I had other games that I played along the lines too, but I'd say that's like my main, what do you say, catalog of games I've played.
Yeah.
How did you find Valheim?
Oh, so like I was saying earlier, like a bunch of my friends discovered it before me that I was gaming with. And they were very insistent, I have to say. And at like $20 or whatever it was, I really couldn't say no. And I found it to be the most fantastic game that I could just play for hours and hours. I actually bought a new computer because my old one just did not like playing Valheim, and I was like, I need to keep playing this game. So I ended up getting a new computer. Like mainly, I needed to get one anyways, but to drive to keep playing Valheim, it was
speeded up the process.
I feel that.
It wasn't like wait until next year. It was like, maybe I'll just order one now. That's okay,
And I know you were saying earlier that you have a very similar story to so many, including me, where you were playing and then everyone who dragged you into this glorious game, abandoned you. So what specifically attracted you to Jiroc's gaming servers?
Oh, well, so I think originally I found Jiroc, through the YouTube channel. Of course, I was the classic, like I'm running in the middle of the meadows. I don't know what I'm doing, how to so-and-so in YouTube, and Jiroc's videos popped up. And, I was playing in like on a private world at the time. And I was like, that looks fantastic, playing on like a large server with, all these, dedicated Valheim enthusiasts. And so I tried it out, and that's the story, I guess. Here I am still today. So it's a great choice. I think that's pretty much sums that up. No, because I think Valheim, it's one of those, it was meant to be played solo, I guess. I think once you get into 100, 200 hours in, you need like some friends to play with.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a thing because there's a point where you just like you want to show other people all the cool stuff you're doing. You want to go and kill a fueling village, with some more people or something, and all that kind of stuff.
Which one do you prefer best in Valheim? Just raiding, building?
Oh wow, yeah, that's a tricky one. I was really big on raiding when I first started playing the game. In fact, like on my own servers, I don't even like show people what the builds look like because they're like dirty little shacks where I squeezed all the workbench upgrades into a corner, and then there's the bed in the middle of the room kind of thing. As I spent time on the server, there's this like almost like a quality standard. It's unspoken, but like as you're walking through all these absolutely fantastic, like picturesque builds that you see on the server, it just naturally like kind of forces you to up your game a little bit. You cannot just build like a square house on Jiroc servers. It just the bar is set very high. So I became like very motivated, and this is partially your fault, Morning Darkness, because you build some amazing things as well. So
my fault.
I know you didn't even know. But like jokes aside, no, it's like I like in the last few months, I think building has really been like my main forte. I think I've had a great time and built a lot of things, which has been very fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, it's so good to have you join us on the podcast here today. I do love getting, different people from the server to come on and join us, and I'm glad that you were available to join us today.
Yeah, me too. Thank you very much for having me. It's been a great time.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to go in and talk about some more Valheim stuff. But before we do, I always like to see if anybody did anything interesting this weekend. And I know somebody did something interesting, Morning Darkness. You did something really interesting this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit how that went? And then I'll tell you why I ended up not going.
Okay, sure thing. Yeah, so I've been gearing up for several months now to go to an RPG or game in general convention called KublaCon. It's in Burlingame, California. And my husband and I, along with another friend of ours, ran our big mega dungeon for the KublaCon event. It went really well. My husband's game went really well. It ended a little bit early, but it did what it was supposed to do. And then our friend was also able to run a really good game. And then my game went off exactly the way I wanted it to. It's like the first game I've ever ran that actually ended on time.
Nice.
I absolutely justified the storyline, and they ended up, figuring out the waltz puzzle and murdering the queen because she was an evil, horrible, wicked creature.
Sounds fun.
And it went really well. And we also, part of what we were doing is we were trying to support another content creator. They are an organization called GUI Cube. And what they do is they create really high quality pictures and other sort of content creation for GMs, for storytellers, DMs, whatever you want to feature yourself as. For not just D&D, it can actually be slotted into other kinds of games, but D&D is sort of the focus. And they create an entire world with story, and they give you character portfolios that you can use and all kinds of really cool stuff. And one of the things they did was the Great GUI Game Show, which is this super campy dungeon crawl. Like, let me tell you, I have not had so much fun and laughter and hilarity in a dungeon crawl in my entire life. And it's something you can look up. I don't know if they posted this particular one on YouTube, but I know that they have videos of other game shows that they've done in the past. And it was actually a lot of fun. And I actually got to go up on stage and be the rogue, and I got to role play a little bit. So that was fun too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the KublaCon, I believe, is the biggest tabletop gaming convention on the West Coast.
Yes.
Yeah, I mentioned in the podcast last week, I think maybe that I might go. I had a friend coming up from Southern California, but it turns out my other friend who lives near me that was doing all the arrangements decided not to go. So then I didn't have all the plans with the other friend who came up. And it turns out he was busy with 2 other people that he brought up, and they all already had their full weekend planned. And,
oh my gosh.
And I didn't have any plans to go without the other friend. And so it all just basically kind of fell apart Thursday night, the plans to get together. So I think next year's I'm definitely going to try to plan ahead so that I can attend that, because it sounds like a lot of fun, especially if there's other people I know who are going to be doing fun things there, like maybe Morning Darkness.
Yeah.
So instead, this weekend, I ended up getting invited to a barbecue first off, I should say Friday night, I saw the new Top Gun movie. And
nice.
Oh my goodness. It's a simple movie. It's not like groundbreaking. It's not, an Oscar winning movie or anything. It's no Shawshank Redemption or anything, but it is very, very fun. And I was all caught up in it. I thought it was really well done. So,
nice.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. A simple movie, but done well.
I'm going to go see it next weekend, I think.
Yeah. If you're even a little bit of a fan of the first one, or just kind of like a high adrenaline action movie that's not dumb, like so many of these high adrenaline action movies are just dumb. This one's not dumb. It's heartfelt. It has a lot of great moments. The action is exciting, and they really make you feel for what's going on. So it's fun. It was fun, definitely. And then luckily, a couple of friends were doing a barbecue, one on Saturday, one on Sunday. So I got to go to 2 barbecues. And then we had an art and wind festival where they sold kites, and they had tons of vendors there for other things. And they did a kite show where they have these really acrobatic kites flying around and doing tricks and spinning. They even had giant kites.
I used to have one of those.
Oh yeah, they're so cool to watch. How they make them do those tricks is just crazy.
It's not that hard, actually.
Oh yeah, I've never tried it, but it looks like they're out there working hard doing it. Are you familiar, Morning, with the San Ramon Art and Wind Festival, or sometimes referred to as the Kite Festival?
I am.
Yeah,
I used to go to it when I was a kid.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're aware because you live and grew up in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they flew a giant life-size whale shark kite. So it's giant. Nice. Yeah. And then a giant octopus kite. And it's just fun to watch them kind of slowly float up into the air and look like they're going to crash at any moment. But they don't, because they have a guide kite at the end pulling them up higher. So it's kind of fun. But because it's a big fair, a big festival, they have all kinds of vendors selling art and food and all kinds of stuff. Well, I found a vendor who was an actual blacksmith in real life, this older gentleman, and his wife was there. She had paintings and drawings and stuff, so they both had their stand together. But he had the most beautiful collection of knives that he makes himself. And I'm a little bit of a knife collector, not as much as my friend who got me into it. I've got 5 or 6 pretty nice like folding knives and whatnot, but I never had a really good fixed blade knife, and he had so many of them. And so I bought a fixed blade Damascus steel knife.
Nice.
Oh, very nice.
And it's just this
very
little
nice.
thing. It's so beautiful, though. And I do use my knives. I'm not the kind of person who's just like, put it in a display case or worried about nicking it or whatever. It's like, nope, I use them. I cut stuff. I don't pry things open with them, but I do use it, and it's just a tool. It's not, for protection or,
Funny enough, as you say that, I have about 3 of them right in front of me.
Oh, nice.
I also collect a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice.
So this is actually the most expensive knife I've purchased now to date, and I love it so far. I just got it yesterday. I'm gonna give a plug to the blacksmith because he actually lives in the area, and he's not a sponsor, but J Bear Knives, just as it sounds, Jay and then BEAR knives.com. Beautiful website. If you look at his website, you kind of get an idea of the kind of knife I got.
I'll have to show us.
Yeah, I'll post some pictures. But that was my weekend. How about you, Gorth? Did you do anything fun this weekend?
Well, didn't do anything out in the real world, but it wasn't that good. So I stayed indoors and started building something that I was putting out for a while, which is my void build. Basically building outside of a dungeon.
For the contest coming up, right?
No, people have asked me that several times. No, just for simple
Just for
pleasure.
you, huh?
Just for the simple pleasure of building something weird.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I'm not that much of a builder, so I tend to use location as the factor of my builds.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and if anybody's curious what Gorth is talking about there, I have 4 videos, one on each dungeon in the game, the Sunken Crypt, Burial Chamber, Troll Cave, and Frost Cave. And I show you how to get outside the wall of the dungeon into the void space, which is really cool looking.
I've gone a little bit further than that. I've actually gone beyond the void.
Oh, you built, yeah, you can build out past the void too.
I'm doing now a few balconies beyond the void just to have a nice viewpoint.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's kind of like your own little sky house.
Yep. If you look at it from the outside, once it's done, it's going to look a little bit like an apartment building.
Oh, wow.
Viking sky apartments?
Yeah, and I plan to connect the balconies as well.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow.
You know what? An option to save the entire build in one of those skyboxes would be really cool. Maybe we can get a modder to do that at some point.
Copy the whole, use the skybox as a container to copy. Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What is that exactly? Like the skybox? Like, what do you...
Well, so when a dungeon is created, you know, the entrance to say like a troll cave and you go inside, you're portaling about 5,000 or 6,000 meters up into the sky above the entrance.
Yeah.
And the game makes a giant elongated cube. And inside that cube is perpetual darkness and an environment called caves, which is kind of misty and has cool sound effects and particulate floating in the air. And that's where the dungeon is. It's actually up in the sky. What Gorth is talking about is he used a trick with chairs to get outside the wall of the dungeon. And then you can get on to the roof of the dungeon and you can start building, and you could build in that void space because inside that cube is very dark. And so I've just kind of referred to it as a void space.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you'll
kind of like the back rooms of Valheim.
Yeah, it's like behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was maybe some kind of like special object or something like that, where it's like had like or something. Okay, that makes sense. I think maybe it was some of the Valor folks actually. They showed me one of their frost caves that they had gotten on top of. And that was a very interesting building on top of there. Like your heart's always like just a few beats up because you're like, I might fall to my death right now, anytime now.
Yeah, you could definitely fall if you're not careful there. But,
has happened a few times, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, cool. Jiroc, did you do anything fun that you might want to share with us over this last weekend or week?
Well, to be honest, like I'm super busy at work right now.
Okay.
So I've been working every single day. So out in the real world of arguable, ness right there. But I've had a lot of fun playing Valheim, actually.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, could you recommend a good place to go play Valheim with other people our listeners?
Definitely recommend Jiroc's Viking Playground. That's a fantastic place to play Valheim with all your friends, to meet new friends. And in fact, all of my current Valheim friends are on Jiroc's Playground, and made a lot of very good friends here, and played some other games too and such. No, it's pretty fantastic.
That's awesome.
Me and a fellow Playground player named Tremonos, we've been working on some very cool builds there for the server. One of which is kind of the brainchild of Tremonos there, but I've been working on this money temple that I call the Chambers of Commerce, and it's going to be like a plug into the kind of the merchant. Like the server economy kind of thing. We're gonna try to like keep like a record of like kind of the market value roughly in coins of all the different items on the server, and just to kind of just to like make it easy for people, like when you have some extra gold laying around and you think to yourself, oh, I just have all this useless gold. Well, this way you can go there, you can say, okay, I'm low on this and I'm low on that, and you can kind of budget yourself, and that way too it'll make it, more like lucrative for people that like to farm things, maybe to just go and farm those things and then sell them, and then you can buy maybe some things that you don't like to farm, like maybe you're not big on like going in caves or going into plains and stuff, just to kind of get like a little flow of of trades and community involvement and things going.
Yeah, it seems like a great idea, especially so many people, they need stuff and they ask, well, do you have this? And they say, yeah, I have that. And well, what are you charging? And they think to themselves, I don't know what to charge. What's the market value? They just sort of come up with it on the spot. So yeah, having something that kind of suggests market value for things, I think will be a huge tool that a lot of people can make use of. Because like you asked, if I were running around as a player on my servers, I wouldn't know what to charge for things, except if I had to pay for it previously from somebody, then maybe I'd use that as a marker. But yeah, keeping track of that would be awesome.
Most people just saying, what do you want to give for it?
Yeah.
Normally prices are made by how much you want to pay for something, how much something is worth.
Well, yeah, there's that supply and demand, right? Like, how much do you want it?
Yeah.
Right.
You need to have a fixed economy.
Exactly.
And I just want to take a quick break from the show to share with you one of my sponsors, the Grimfrost, an amazing company that sells really, really cool Viking products. They have over 1,000 different modern and historical Viking products. If you're interested, you should check them out. I have a link in the description, or you can go to my website, jiroctheviking.com/Grimfrost. Now back to the show.
So we're going to go and we're going to talk about some Valheim news, because there was a big news update that came out last week. Gorth, you want to start us off with that?
Okay. Last week, the Iron Gate released a pretty big teaser regarding the Mistlands. A couple of organical items that are going to be included in the game were released. The two mushrooms, which indicates some kind of new recipes, new stuff to be cooked. So all the cooks will be rejoicing over that.
Yes.
Yeah. They're pretty cool too, looking though.
They are. They look really different from everything else.
Put those on item stands and start decorating with those cool new mushrooms.
I want to make a giant mushroom. Giant mushroom behind the house. But yeah, we also have that new forge that's going to be for the new weapons, the many weapons that they're talking about. That's got me really excited.
Oh yeah, they said in their post many new weapons, so that'll be cool.
Because right now they've released a couple of weapons, two weapons, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I think it was two of them.
The bow and the crossbow.
If that was it, I think the wording would be for the weapons, not for many weapons.
Yeah.
So the wording leads me to believe that we got lots of goodies coming our way.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, and so the biomes, everything, we're expecting a really big update.
Yeah, and we had that little sneak peek of when they were showing a picture of a couple of the devs skinny dipping, and they just give us a glimpse of the terrain with the new grass and ferns and stuff. So it's not just going to be this barren, rocky land like we've seen in the previous images. It will actually have some lush greenery, apparently. And from that picture was real sunny, so maybe it won't just always be misty there either.
Wonder if soon they'll implement some kind of, more weather patterns into Valheim.
My theory, based on things that I've heard on different interviews and different things with different podcasts, my theory is that it's going to have something to do with the Yagluth thingy.
Yeah, each new biome used the drop from the previous boss. So, yeah, I think the Yagluth thing is going to play a big part in the Mistlands.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe even in building that forge, I saw somebody suggest, which would make sense.
And regarding all the news that were released, for me, the biggest news of them all is the fact this is not going to be a middle level. This is going to be a next level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that sounds great.
Talking about that, some of the new videos that we posted last week. I put up two videos, one covering the skinny dipping and the new grass and ferns picture that they released, and another video talking about the forge and its upgrades. So if you are interested, you can check those out. And Morning Darkness, you did some stuff over there on Twitch last week, didn't you?
Well, not a lot, because I took the week off gearing up for KupoCon.
Yeah.
But I did do a no map run, and we found the coast that probably leads to the Elder.
So, yeah, that's right. You're playing no map, so everything is a little bit of a mystery for you guys. You're not sure quite where you're going.
Right.
And how many people do you have running around on that no map server with you right now?
It depends. Right now, it's last week it was me and Petra, and we have another player who comes on, Bonnie, and then our guest was the Nerdy Northerner, and he joined us kind of late in the stream. And then this week I'm a little bit alone. I know that Marie is busy, and or I should say Diamond Dust 320 is busy, and Petra is off the grid. So I'm going to be joined by another Twitch streamer, Tazarello, but yeah.
Awesome.
And Bonnie will likely be there too. Bonnie's awesome.
Just wanted to say something about no map. This is something that I find lots of people asking everywhere. You don't need a mod for no map. You just need to go into the command line and type no map. Lots of people have been asking me how to experience no map, how to get into no map, which mod do you need. You don't actually need a mod. You just need to type in no map on the command lines.
Yep.
And you can experience it all the same, even with the vanilla game.
Although you do have to make sure that you have access to the command console when you go into
a single player game.
Yeah. When you go into Steam, you do have to make sure you set that up. We did run into that issue.
I do have a video on that somewhere about how to enable the F5 console on your thing. You just have to enter a command line in Steam on the game in the properties. But yeah, check out my video if you want to know how to do that.
Yeah.
I will make sure to link that in my next no map run. That's really good to know.
So we're going to talk about one of the things that I really enjoy talking about, and it is things that we like to see changed in the game. It's just, like, we love the game. It's got a lot of cool things, but if we could add a feature or change a certain thing about it, what would it be? And Morning, is there something that you'd like to see changed if you had a magic button to make it happen?
I mean, it's really hard coming up with something for this subject every week, but this week I was writing characters up for the games, and I would love to see more character details, different hairstyles, different kinds of things. And I want to ask a question. I know this may be just me. It may be totally out there. I doubt it's just me. Why can't women have beards too? I mean, dwarf women have beards. It feels really limiting. That's not necessary.
But you can. You just need to go into a private world.
With a
go
mod?
into dev commands. No, go into dev commands and type in beard.
Okay, all right.
It will give you a beard.
Well, that's good to know.
It gives women a beard? I didn't even know that.
Yes.
That's
it gives all
fantastic.
characters a beard.
So you can give yourself a beard in single player, and then you can bring that character onto the multiplayer server with a beard.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got to make a quick video on that.
I remember this was available. This was available a few versions ago. I haven't tried it recently. I'm guessing it still works.
Female beards. That's awesome. If a female wants to have a beard, that's great. Go for it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we can't do that on your server because we have to come in with a brand new character.
Well, yeah, we have to figure something out. If people are really interested in doing that, maybe there.
I might just be weird, but I appreciate that, Gorth. I do.
Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
and Valheim has so many ways.
It sounds like the devs... No, go ahead, Jiroc.
I was just going to say, with all the great modders out there, we're able to do so much more. When you think, how do I do this? Oftentimes, one of the modders will tell me, oh, there's already a mod out there for that. All right, I say, okay, I'm sorry I bothered you about it then. But what about you, Gorth? What would you change if you could in the game?
Something that just came to mind to me today was something that I would like to see, but this is completely unrealistic, but it would be still funny, is flying ships.
Ooh.
Flying ships that take you away to Valhalla or whatever. Because currently here at Jiroc server, we have something which is the sky bases. And how much fun would it be to be able to dock your base, to dock your boat at your base, at the sky base?
Oh, yeah.
And just trot along the skies like the gods used to. I know it's a bit like godly to ask for, but still.
Yeah.
That sounds like Viking
awesome.
punk to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Viking steampunk-ish type of thing.
Mhm.
Viking punk. Yeah. Yeah, that would be fun. I think there is a mod for flying ships, but yeah, of course, adding it to the actual game would I think it's a
Breaks
stretch.
the game a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a stretch for the system that they're going for, but
Yeah.
well, that's fun. That's fun. How about you, Jiroc? Can you think of anything that you might change if you could?
Oh man, what, like existing content or like going forward kind of thing? Because one thing that I would like to see is for them to give us something in the game to do besides just killing the Forsaken.
You mean like other objectives?
Like other objectives or like, just something else, so it's doesn't like give the game like that kind of finality after you kill the Forsaken, basically, so you just have something else to do or so like a side mission. Basically, there's something to do besides that, I guess. I don't know. But I think the game as it is, more build pieces. There we go. Like different build pieces, like the different angles of everything,
Yes.
Yeah. As far as that content goes and having like more objectives to do, I'm actually building, this is a little bit early announcement, but we're sort of getting it underway now, is we are doing, or I'm mainly doing, but I'm getting a lot of feedback on it, is a new accomplishments or achievement system, a new achievement system, which a lot of games have when they get their final release. And I think they've mentioned that they'll probably do that with Steam. Like you can do achievements through Steam with a game if a game doesn't have achievements built in. But so we're doing one specific to our servers, and I can generalize it for people outside, and it'll all be built and tracked on a spreadsheet so that you can track your spreadsheets and it'll add points. So you have achievement points. And if you want to reward yourself with rewards like that, you can only spawn in an admin mode once you've achieved a certain amount of achievement points. That'll be a way to, say, I'm not going to cheat and spawn this stuff in, but if I accomplish these achievements, then I'll spawn that in as the reward for that. And so that's what we're going to do. And the fire sword, the Verger sword.
Hamburger sword.
Yeah.
I know that one.
The fire sword is not in the game yet. And so I'm setting up an achievement system, which should launch with Season 2, our Season 2 server. It'll announce the achievement system, and you can start working towards unlocking your own fire sword on the main servers. So that's a one way to get new content. And so that's awesome that was one of your suggestions in addition to more build pieces. Yeah, no, I definitely, I feel like there's somewhat of a void there. And like, that's actually a great idea in terms of filling that, just little things to do like on the side, like while you're running around looking for like an elder spawn or something like that, Yeah, you have these achievements to do. And, on our servers, we do have, events and points of interest that you can go and do that aren't normally in the game. So it adds a little bit of content. But yeah, if I give you a list of 100 possible achievements, now you can go out and you can actually work towards them, and it gives you something else to do. So yeah, and I think we're going to introduce that system, with Season 2. But for me, one of the things I really would love to see in the game is diving. I'd love to be able to swim down to the ocean floor, and even if they had like coral reefs and more fish and octopuses and eels and sharks and all that cool stuff. Because I remember Minecraft a few years back did their big ocean update, and they added all that stuff, so that making swimming down into the water really exciting and fun. And right now, even if you had the diving mod, there is a diving mod you can swim down, but it's not as exciting because when you swim down, there's not a lot down there, a couple of rocks and boulders and stuff, but you could also retrieve your serpent scales and trophies and stuff, right? or if you're like you accidentally throw your weapon out of your hand when you're on a boat and it goes sinking down to the bottom. You can swim down and get it. So I'd love diving. Although I think the last I heard that was not something that they're even considering. So too bad. But
yeah,
I'd like to go on quickly and talk about a segment that Morning Darkness likes to talk about, especially after doing her big KublaCon this weekend, Valheim for tabletop games. Morning, you want to tell us how we might use Valheim for tabletop games?
Sure. So one of the problems that I find when I run a campaign and I kind of have a starter area for my players is they don't really feel attached to a place. They never really develop close relationships. I mean, like, as much as I try, I'd never find that there are close relationships built with local NPCs, non-player characters, that sort of thing. So one of the things that would be really neat is to have a pre-designed village, welcoming tavern or adventure tavern. Create an area that's more immersive so that the players can really become attached to that place so that you can also destroy it. And then with plan build, you can just build it back up again.
Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, you can just make copies of it whenever you need and use it again.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually one of the things I loved about, like I did a video a while ago on, I think it was entitled, Don't Summon the Elder. And I summoned, because we have yeah, you remember that?
I do.
We have a portal hub built around the Elder summoning spot. So instead of copying it with plan build at the time, I don't think I was as familiar with the mod back then. I just made a copy of the world and loaded it on my single player server of our main server. And I went over to the Elder Hub and I summoned the Elder and watched it try to destroy the Elder Hub. But yeah, if I could, like you said, if we could just plan build and copy and paste it, I could have just done that real quick on any of my single player worlds. And speaking of mods, which we've been doing a lot because, it adds so much more content and as admins allows us to add more content, talk about our favorite feature from one of the mods that are out there. And I mentioned the diving mod as one of my things I'd love for them to add to the game, the diving feature. But specifically the diving mod, it does allow you to dive and it adds a cool blue, hazy, watery looking environment when you dive down below the water. Without the mod, you don't have that. And you swim down and it adds a little stamina bar and all this. So that's fun. So I really like that. The only con that so far I saw with this diving mod is I spawned a bunch of serpents in above me because I wanted to see what they would do. And I just swam down and the serpents can't swim down either. They can't dive either. Can you believe it?
Yeah, they get stuck. They're stuck to the plane of the water.
Yep, just like a player they're stuck on top. So you can just swim right underneath them and not have to deal with them. I was thinking, should I allow that mod on our server? And then when I saw that you can just swim underneath the serpents, I said, no, we can't.
You're going to cheese every single serpent.
Yeah. But what about you, Morning? What's a favorite feature of a mod for you?
A favorite feature of a mod? I'd have to say colorful signs.
Yeah.
And how the signs glow brightly enough to reduce the need for lighting and storage when you're trying to keep your instance counts down.
Yeah.
That's actually really pivotal for me. And it's also really good for no map road signs. You can see them from far away. Sometimes even mistake them for gravestones, which were new. And yeah, so I love colorful signs and how they can glow brightly enough.
Yeah, I remember that was one of my pains early on in Valheim, was having to throw up torches and braziers everywhere, or the wall hanging torch, whatever that one is called, the sconce, right?
The sconce, yeah, the sconce.
That was such a pain to have all that. You're adding to the instances, but then you're also adding animation. So if you have a lot of instances and you're adding all this fire animation and smoke, now you're just lagging yourself even more. So yeah, once I got colorful signs too, I took down all the lighting that I didn't need because, you want specific lighting to set the mood. You don't want to have to light just so you can read your signs.
What would be nice is a way to remove the smoke animations and everything for lag wise. And I mean, I guess keep the smoke damage and all that stuff, but just because I've noticed that too on some builds that I have where there's 50 torches and braziers and everything all over the place. And as soon as the game renders them in, you can just see like this huge drop in frames.
Yeah, definitely.
Like immediately. And it's only when the actual lighting finally
Kicks
loads in.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's like if I've noticed that if I scale it down even a little bit, then there's spots where it's just like blackness, like kind of in between the lighting. So I was like, well, like it would be nice to have some kind of maybe have it like the light reach a little bit higher or something like that.
Yeah, cast its glow further.
Yeah, like a little bit further. Exactly.
Yeah, that's definitely, it would have to calculate the light casting to, in addition to the animation, it's calculating the light casting and what catches light and reflects it back. So yeah, lighting in general usually causes performance issues in games, but yeah, at least not having to light up your signs helps to reduce that a little bit. But what about you, Gork?
Yeah.
What's a favorite feature from a mod that you have?
So there's a mod it's an old mod, but it still works pretty well because it's fairly simple. There is a mod that allows you to basically gain the power of flight, but not in the same sense as an admin would. It gives you the power. It gives you two wings.
What?
Yeah.
And the feature that I really like about it is that it integrates a bit the wind currents from the boats.
Oh, nice.
Because you don't just fly in a straight line. You're always under the influence of the wind.
Well, so you're like a bird. You're gliding with the current.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
And it uses stamina as well, so you can't fly forever.
Oh.
Unless you find a good wind current. If you find a good wind current, then you can fly for a long time until you get thrown off the map.
That reminds me of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Do they have like a flying mechanic like that?
Yeah, you have basically it's a glider that you have to make sure that you get the right angle and height, and otherwise you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And this mod has a thing that drives most people away from it, is that roughly the first week of using it is you just smashing yourself into the floor.
Oh no!
Because it's just getting the habit of how to take flight from the ground, making sure you're facing the right wind current, you have enough space to run, you don't have trees in front of you. You crash so many times.
And then landing safely.
That just sounds realistic. I kind of like it.
That's a different business. Landing is a completely different business.
Oh, no.
Just pray for dear God and hope that you land in water or something. But it's a fun mod.
Well, for the listeners who've played Minecraft, that they have a set of wings in that game, and it doesn't ride the air current, but you can glide around, and you're slowly losing altitude as you're gliding. But you can kind of dive and pick up speed and then kind of ramp yourself back up. But eventually you will go down. But you can use the fireworks in the game to launch you higher and higher. And basically you can fly for as long as you have fireworks, which is kind of an interesting mechanic. But yeah, flying in Valheim sounds fun, and maybe on some modded server, but yeah, I don't think the vanilla experience is really meant for flying.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
I don't think so either. I think you get to skip too much when you can fly around to different places.
Yeah, how am I going to collect my mushrooms if I'm flying over them?
Right.
Oh, but you can't use weapons. You can't use any kind of weapons when you have the wings equipped.
Yeah.
The wings are the weapon itself, so it doesn't do anything.
So yeah, that's what you equip.
You flap it. Yeah. You flap it in.
Well, talking about mushrooms, favorite things in Valheim segment, we're going to talk about our favorite admin spawn item. So only admins can spawn these things in, whether you're in creative mode or you're on a server and you maybe get a reward from an event or something that an admin spawns in. Jiroc, what's one of your favorite admin spawnable items?
Oh, so my absolute favorite would be the glowing mushroom, because it resets the structural ness of whatever whatever it touches.
Yeah, the structural integrity. Yeah.
Yeah, so it goes back to blue. And like I said, like I'm really into building, and that is the number one enemy of any builder, is that dreaded dark red showing up in your precious build when you're 5 meters from the roof coming together, and you're like, "This is it. This is all I get."
You're like, I need more height.
I did, And yeah,
that's a pain that like I think all of us have experienced when you start building too high. If you maybe try to raise the dirt in that one spot so you can have that spot for your tower or something to get a little higher.
Yeah.
Morning. How about you? What's one of your favorite admin spawnable items?
This is going to be no mystery to anyone who's listened to, I think I mentioned this almost every time. I love to spawn in the vines.
Yeah.
And I've actually, not spoiler, for season 2, I've actually been creating planter boxes. And since you can't bring over items on item stands, I've been actually using the vines to create plants in rooms for decorative items.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. Very cool.
Yeah, I've seen a couple other builders too use vines as kind of like grass covering in areas where they want just like grass on the ground. But yeah, I can see them used as in planters too. That's awesome. Have you seen Morning? Have you seen the 4 different roots in the game that you can spawn in? They're pretty small. They're green, and they I think they would also have a place in mixing with vines a little bit to create something interesting.
I have not.
Yeah, I'm building these little pallets with the Plan Build mod. The Plan Build mod has so many awesome uses that people have not even considered. Maybe even the modders haven't considered. And one of them is I make a pallet. I put a bunch of stone blocks, and then I put all the admin spawnable items on there, so that I can sample them with Infinity Hammer and quickly build them, rather than having to go through the console command and try to figure out what I'm looking for, or even to remind me that it exists. So I have.
Oh my gosh, Jiroc, that's brilliant.
Yeah. So I already have started uploading them for our folks, and I plan to make them available to my Patreons eventually. But basically, right now I have one that's all the Frost Cave items. So it's just like everything that's in the Frost Cave you can spawn. You just drop this one blueprint, and it's nice and neatly organized on this little platform. I have all the Goblin build pieces, which are amazing, and I just don't see enough of our builders using any of the Goblin build pieces. I've got one that's just like miscellaneous things, like all the doors and mushrooms and skeletal remains and crystals and obsidian and statues and all the different things in the game. So yeah, I'm building palettes. Blueprint palettes for like a painter's palette, right? It's like, here's the colors I have to paint with. Here's the objects I have to build with.
You can't see my face, but my jaw is sort of touching my knees right now.
Yeah. And I was thinking about doing that actually with even the standard build pieces, because seeing it in the physical world, one, it reminds you that it exists. And 2, you see what it looks like, and you can glance over and then just quickly say, oh yeah, I think that one will fit here in my application. And you don't have to go through the hammer build menu and spawn in each one yourself to see if it would work. It's just even the standard build pieces in a blueprint. And because there are so many, there'll probably be several different blueprints. And all you have to do with your thing, like I have the Infinity Hammer, I sample with my mouse 4 button. I sample that item off the palette, and I just quickly place it. I think people are going to like that.
Amazing.
One of my favorite admin spawnable items is the skeletal remains from I think it's the forest crypt remains or something. There's like 5 of them, and it's different skulls and bones and different configurations. And one of them is even a full skeleton, and they're called like pickable. You can get the bones from them, but they make great decorations, don't they, Morning?
They do. I have used them maybe in a few of my builds.
Yeah.
For season 2, maybe just a few.
Yeah, the pickable stuff. Unfortunately, the players can pick it and remove your decoration, but it looks good. So what I've started doing is I'm using iron bars around my skeletal remains where appropriate, so that the players can't pick them. But maybe you could put some things up high and out of reach too. It's a fun way to do with it, a thing to do with it. But Gorth, what about you? What's one of your favorite things to spawn in admin?
Well, I've just discovered a new favorite thing while we were talking.
Oh, what's that?
Those roots. They seem to count as foundation.
Absolutely.
What?
The roots do. Roots do, statues do, any of the rocks. So you can just resize a rock, or you can make a rock like a pillar or a flat object or a tiny, tiny boulder, smaller than the glowing mushroom, and it'll support too. But yeah, the roots definitely, they act as support and they look really cool. And I haven't tried scaling them. Did you try scaling them? Do they scale?
No, I'm doing it in simple dev commands.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. I'll just build a small platform up in the sky with using one of those roots. Amazing.
Oh, and by the way, Morning, one of my palettes has the roots on them, so I'll have to upload that one. It's one I haven't uploaded yet.
Jaw is now at my toes.
Well, we have one more segment to go through, and it's just interesting facts about us for those 5 or less than 5% of the people who make it all the way to the end of the podcast. And is there an interesting fact about you that you'd like to share with our audience?
I mean, this is probably no surprise. I do a bunch of other creative stuff, but I do sometimes also just write short stories.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I actually, there are a couple where I write really short stories that are only a page or so. And when you're really limited on that level, or it's like 2 pages long, you really do have to get creative and powerful with the way you write stuff.
Yeah, an economy of words, right? You're in less words, you got to really say something interesting. So it's almost like you're engineering what you want to say to get across everything in fewer words.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll read one for you sometime.
Oh, that would be awesome. Absolutely. I have seen YouTubers and even podcasts out there that do that just do their short stories. Or there's like channels that do, culminations of short stories from various writers. That might be something fun to consider if you have enough and something you want to do. But I remember I used to write a lot of short stories, both like biographies for characters, because you're like writing the story of the character. When I was playing tabletop games regularly. I haven't been playing regularly for 6 or 7 years, but before that, I would go to the Black Diamond Games over here by us, Morning.
Oh yeah.
And I would write stories, or if I was being the GM or the dungeon master, I would write a lot of stories because I got to write the story of the game, and that's probably what you're doing, right? Too, you're always writing.
No, this is actually
characters or stories for games as well.
Right, that is something that I do, but this is a little bit different.
This is just pure short stories for the fun of it. Oh, that's awesome. Is there a specific genre that you like to write for, or do you just explore whatever genre you're interested in at the time?
Yeah, I just go based on what I'm feeling inspired by in the moment. Sometimes I do horror, sometimes I do fantasy, sometimes I do sort of urban fantasy. It really depends.
Well, that's cool. So what about you, Gorth? What's an interesting fact about you you'd like to share?
I'm a Lord of the Rings fanatic, like most of my clanmates are, the Valar. I think that's quite obvious. Even my name is derived from Lord of the Rings as well. Most of my nicknames as well. To those who don't know, Gorthar is actually the name of Sauron.
Oh, I did not know that. I guess I'm not a fanatic.
Yeah, that's one of the old elder names of Sauron. The older languages.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, big Lord of the Rings fanatic. Started with the books, moved on to the movies. Loved the movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not The Hobbit.
No. Not The Hobbit. I agree with you there.
And the movies, yeah, I can easily go and watch the whole uncut version.
Oh yeah,
nonstop.
So long, that version.
Love it.
I'm one of those persons that if you get me talking too much about Lord of the Rings, I won't shut up. I will go on forever.
Well, I won't start asking you nerdy questions that you could probably answer to get you going into it. But yeah, I do enjoy. I did see the first Lord of the Rings movie, I think 12 times at the theater. I think that's my record. And then the following two, probably like 6 or 7 times each. And The Hobbit only once because they weren't very good.
I'm one of those horrible persons that you cannot watch the Lord of the Rings with.
Oh,
because I'll be pointing out everything that is not very clear or not even very relevant to the story, but I'll say, "Oh yeah, that's from that. Oh yeah, that's from that." And that little rock over there. That little rock has a story. The pebble has a story in it.
Yeah.
Oh my word.
I'll just be unbearable during Lord of the Rings. So
I
never
mean,
take my invitation to watch it.
It's sort of like watching a movie with Jiroc, right? Because
I
he's a filmmaker.
Yeah, I do tear apart movies and say, "Oh, what are they doing here?" And people around me saying, "Just shut up."
Yeah,
I don't care.
I know the feeling.
Although sometimes I can pull people into complaining with me. You know, if you are next to me and you start complaining about a movie, I will pull all the complaints out of you because I will complain with you. But what about you, Jiroc? Is there anything interesting, little fact, tidbit about you that you might want to share?
Well, it's as every time you're asked these kinds of questions, like, I don't know if there's anything interesting about me, now that I'm on the spot there. I don't know, actually. I guess like it's a little bit relevant to Valheim, but I actually I do construction for a living.
Oh, okay.
So, I sit around and build stuff in Valheim at night, and during the day, I, build and remodel houses.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so do a lot of building.
Oh.
Yeah.
I find it super funny that we all reflect our lives in Valheim.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's an interesting fact that you're building in real life as well.
Yeah.
Well, my interesting fact this week is a little unusual and might cause people to squirm a little bit. But I did at one point in my life, I actually touched my skull, underneath the skin with my finger.
Hellraiser style, or clinical style.
So the story goes, when I was in the Navy, U.S. Navy between 92 and 98, and I was stationed on an aircraft carrier. And during our downtime, which we didn't have a lot of, we would go to the hangar bay and you would jog to get some exercise, or we would go to the little gyms that they had. They had a few exercise equipment. But this one day we were going to go up the stairwell, these ladders, which are kind of like the ladder in Valheim, actually, the really steep ladder. No. But these had railings on it. So you grab onto the railing and you kind of pull yourself up as you're walking up the really steep stairs. But at the top of each stairs is a big hatch. And they have these hatches for general quarters in case, the ship is ever attacked. And if there's flooding, you close these big hatches so that the whole ship doesn't sink, right? So you seal off areas. So there's these big hatches everywhere and they would get closed. But they're usually open during normal time. But also, in the center of the big hatch is a little hatch, a little round one with a wheel that you spin open. And that's like for quick access during the times that the big hatch has to be closed to prevent, potential flooding in an attack environment, or what we call a general quarters environment. We would always just run up those stairs and pull ourselves up. We got really good at going up really fast. You're in your early 20s and you're fit and you're running around, you just zoom right up them stairs. You skip every other step. Well, there's always light coming down. If there's not light, the hatch is closed. Well, the big hatch was closed one day. The little hatch was open, letting the light in. So I ran up the stairs as fast as I could, pulling myself up, and smacked my head into the steel hatch door because the big door was closed and I didn't see it. And I basically scalped myself about the size of a silver dollar. And as I fell back off the stairs with a minor concussion, a friend of mine who was right behind me caught me and he said, "Are you okay?" And I reached up and touched my head because it hurt. And as I did, my finger slipped underneath the scalp part of the skin and I touched my skull.
No.
And then blood just poured down my face everywhere and all over
head
the place.
wounds, man. Head wounds are the worst, but no.
Very Clive Barker.
So yeah, if you ever meet me, I am balding, obviously, but I do have a scar on the top of my head from that incident that you'll be able to see. So there's my interesting fact this week.
Interesting.
That's a very unique experience, Jiroc.
Oh, yeah. The military does create a lot of unique experiences, and
I bet.
that was definitely one of my highlights. All right, everybody. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thanks for joining me, everyone.
Oh,
Nice being here.
thank you
Thanks
for
for
having me,
having us.
guys. It was
Yeah, this
fantastic.
is great.
Yeah.
That's it for now. Have fun out there.
Thank you for listening to Podheim, Jiroc's Valheim podcast. We have new episodes coming out every Friday, and if you enjoyed listening, please support us by subscribing to the podcast on your favorite platform and leave us a rating and a review to help more Vikings find us. We also have a Patreon with perks for supporters like behind-the-scenes discussions, exclusive content, and segments that are edited out of the main podcast. And if you'd like to join our friendly Discord community, we have more than 1,000 people there. Just go to discord.gg/Jiroc the Viking. If you'd like to play on my Valheim servers, just go to my website at jiroctheviking.com and submit an application. I'd like to give a huge shout out to my supporters, some of them on Patreon, the YouTube membership, and the ones who help boost our Discord server. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to make more videos, as well as run a community Discord and multiple Valheim gaming servers. If you enjoy my videos and would like to support my work, join our friendly Discord community and Valheim servers. Links can be found in the description below. Skull!